All right, now we're ready. Please introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the record. Got to take you off of mute.
What about now? Can y'all hear us?
Yep, all right, go ahead. State your name and let him state his name and DOC number for the record.
Derrian Devine, 621699.
All right, Mr. Devine, you heard the introductions. We'll have a parole revocation hearing. We'll read some rule violation.
Before y'all start the revocation hearing, there's two things that we need to clarify.
Okay, let me read this information into the record, and then we can clarify what we need to clarify. We need to get the we need to open this up.
Okay, go ahead.
So please, so Mr. Devine, we're going to read some information, rule violations. You can plead guilty, not guilty, guilty with a statement, and not guilty with a statement. And then we'll ask you questions. You can respond. Your attorney's there. She'll be able to make her statement, and we'll make a decision. Do you understand the process?
Yes, sir.
Can y'all put the camera on Mr. Devine so we can see him?
Okay, hold on.
There you go.
What about
Now, do you? That's good. No, the other way's good. Other way. I see sideways. Now that's perfect.
Okay.
All right. What about now? Do you have a parole revocation questionnaire in front of you?
Yes, he does.
Okay. Is that your signature at the bottom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Miss Bridget Brown is your counsel, correct? Retained to counsel. Okay. You can read and write?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Derrian Devine DOC number 621699. Rule number 2, you failed to report to probation parole since November 2017. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Number 3, you failed to provide a valid address and have absconded supervision since November 2017. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Number 3, also, you have left the state of Louisiana without written permission as evidenced by your arrest in Phoenix, Arizona on 3/13/2023. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
And number 10, you have failed to submit payments since the 10/11/2017 and are in arrears a total of $4,363 toward the supervision fees. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
All right. Would you answer Ms. Renata, please?
All right, Ms. Brown, we're still waiting on the email, but we do have the information that you provided during the preliminary hearing. Is there anything you want to tell us before
the first thing is on the parole revocation questionnaire that you just asked my client about. On number 6 at the bottom, it says 6A. Do you own any property? And the correction needs to be that he doesn't own any property. The bulldogs that the parole officer asked him about were dogs which died. Those dogs died, so he doesn't own any property worth $50,000 to $100,000 because he talked about some dogs that are dead. That's number 1. The second thing I wanted to clarify is I sent the parole board a letter on May 12th, which I have a copy of in front of me. You should have it, saying that I had not received notice of the hearing. But on my own, I came out to see my client, and they had given my client notice of the hearing. So I didn't know. I came out here yesterday and today not knowing which day the hearing was going to be or what time the hearing was going to be. So I subpoenaed 2 witnesses. The first witness is the parole officer, Lane Norman, whose report you have in front of me, but I actually had him listed as a witness to verify some things, like the corrections that I'm putting out to the board right now. The second witness is the nurse who works here at the facility, who has all the medical records, and she is here at work this morning, so that's really not a problem. But on parole officer Norman, I truly believe that the questions that I was going to ask him can be answered after the nurse testifies with common sense. I mean, we could Zoom him or bring him out here, but there'll be common sense answers once the medical person testifies. Now, I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention because other than that, we're prepared to proceed on.
All right. We'll make note on our record about the $50,000 to $100,000 property or income. And I'd be interested in hearing from the nurse because your information provided, and I'm sure that's the stuff that's being emailed over to us is the medical
That's
information.
correct. That's correct.
Still waiting on receipt of that, but she's printing it out now. But
Okay.
in preliminary hearing, you indicated that once Mr. Devine released from the Steve Co-op program, he still was under supervision, but he was in need of mental health treatment. Tell us how he ended up in Phoenix.
That's correct. You asked him to tell him how he ended up in Phoenix.
Yeah.
I'll do that, and that's where the medical records are important and the nurse is important. But I do want to make one additional correction, and like I said, I think it's cleared up for the parole officer. At the preliminary hearing, he marked the section that says that he had not had medical treatment in 5 years. He had not had mental health medical treatment in the last 5 years. And I was going to call him as a witness to say, here are the medical records that I'm showing you. You can see now that he did have medical treatment in the last 5 years. I say it's a common sense response because you can see from the medical records that he was actually, and I didn't need to call him here just to say that if y'all would acknowledge that if he came, he would see that these are the medical records that y'all are now looking at, and he did have medical treatment in the last 5 years.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
Yes.
Okay. So those are the two corrections. And with that said, if you look at the preliminary hearing, the information that we provided at that time showed that he was in the Hoyt program, the Richard Hoyle program. It was supposed to be for 1 year. He completed it successfully and he ended up serving 5 years, and then he was released. That he had a medical history based on the fact that he was in the Navy, and when the Navy released him, they released him on a mental discharge because he was a medic for the Navy, and that's in the preliminary report. He was a medic for the Navy. He wanted to work in pediatrics, and the first day that he went to work, 3 babies died on the floor that he was working on. From that point on, he was never really mentally stable. And when the Navy released him a year later, it was from the psych ward, from the military. From the military, he came to Baton Rouge, picked up the burglary charge, and was supposed to be in the Richard Hall program for 9 months to a year or whatever, and he ended up serving 5 years. And from there, he ended up homeless and then went to met someone and went to Arizona. And I think that's kind of detailed in the report. Arizona is the only state that he has been in that offers mental health treatment free of charge. And the medical records I sent you this morning are the medical records from Phoenix, Arizona, and the institutions. If you look at page 10, it details all of the mental institutions that he received service from. On page 10 at the very top.
Yeah, we see that.
Okay, and the second thing is, if you look at page, and they sent to the facility here 34 pages, which we basically reduced down to the 8 pages that are between the cover sheet and the bottom sheet there. And those 8 pages each contain a paragraph that basically shows you that on a monthly basis from 2019 to 23, they detail every month, and you go to page 7, you'll see that they say in the narrative that he's a 34-year African-American male who presents to redemption for a psychiatric evaluation and management of anxiety and panic, and that the symptoms that which he had worsened at night, but he was continuing to take hydroxyzine and alprazolam. Each page that I sent you basically details that to show that he was actually under psychiatric care, because the facility that the medical health program for the state of Arizona actually offers psychiatric care. And with that said,
so we're not questioning the fact that he was receiving medical care in Arizona. My question was, why and how did he end up in Arizona?
now to that, Mr. Devine will answer that.
I was homeless. While I was homeless, I wasn't in Arizona first. I tried to go back to where I'm from. I'm from Mississippi. But my family turned me away because the Louisiana Department of Corrections is a very violent place. And they said that I acted totally different than I had acted before. So they turned me away from the home, so I was on the streets. And I actually met my fiance on the streets. And she's from Illinois, but she had a friend that's in Arizona that said we could come stay there. So that's actually how I accidentally ended up in Arizona. And they provided me with access, which is basically like Medicaid. I couldn't even believe I got approval for it, but they approved it.
Are you a veteran?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever seek assistance from the VA?
Yes, ma'am, but I didn't have a stable address at the time. I went to the VA in Jackson, Mississippi. So I don't really even know what their response is to me signing up for help.
All right, and either Mr. Devine or Ms. Brown, well, I guess we'd like to hear from medical. Is she there in the room?
Yeah, she's not in the room. Felicia Aaron.
To talk about whatever is his course of treatment now today.
Okay, all right. They're going to get the nurse.
Well, maybe Mr. Devine can tell us a little bit about the treatment you're receiving there in that facility. Do you see a counselor?
No, ma'am, I was seeing a counselor in Arizona, but it's
Right.
not
On medication? Are you currently receiving medication?
Yes, ma'am. You talking about
For
hearing?
mental health medication?
You talking about hearing?
Yes,
It's totally different medication, man.
but you are receiving mental health medication.
So it's not the same medication.
The
Well, no, I'm not questioning that. That's not, I'm just asking, are you receiving mental health? And we'll hear from the nurse whenever she arrives.
Yeah, the facility made an appointment for him to see a psychiatrist right after he got here, and right after they received his medical records from Arizona, from I think it's a place called Redemption Psychiatric, in which is what I emailed to you this morning. They made an appointment for him to see the psychiatrist. I don't think he's seen. Have you seen that? He has not seen that psychiatrist. But after they reviewed his medical records, they just told me that the nurse that I subpoenaed is not here this morning. So I don't know if this person they're bringing in is familiar with the file, but in talking to the nurse that I subpoenaed, that nurse was. So I don't know. I don't know who's coming in here in a minute, but I'll ask the same question.
Well, while we're waiting on whoever the medical professional is, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion for executive session
Have a
to
motion.
discuss the record.
We have a motion for executive session. We have a second. Second roll call, please.
Freddie Cope,
Yes.
Chairman. Yes.
Yes. We'll be back.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. People phone, yeah, that's fine.
I don't know. Anyone else get a huge headache listening to that? Headache aside, I think we have to look at it as a positive to see that the staff at the jail is actually putting in a strong, genuine effort to try to help someone that's mentally ill. So that's going to be my takeaway from this. Because that's just, frankly, something you don't really see. But I do feel like 15 minutes of that could have been communicated in 30 seconds or so. At least under a minute. It was kind of like just a lot of noise. Frankly, I'm not even quite sure what it is they're talking about. They're saying that he's mentally ill, so they need to have the nurse talk about it before the hearing. Now, this is a parole revocation hearing, so he was out on parole. He did something to revoke his parole. He's back in jail, and now he's going to get in front of the board, and it seems that they want someone to say, hey, he's got issues. Maybe send him somewhere else. I'm not really sure. I was doing some multitasking listening to this. It's hard to stay focused when it just sounded like they have their masks on. You can hardly hear what they're saying to begin with.
All right,
All right, we're back.
Mr. Devine and Ms. Brown, did the healthcare practitioner arrive yet?
You're on mute.
Hold on. Okay, board, the medical person is here, but they're here by way of telephone, which is fine with me. So can we present that testimony now?
Yeah, the one that you subpoenaed is here by phone.
Yeah, the one that's subpoenaed is here by phone. So I have a few questions for her.
All right, well, let's hear from her.
Okay. For the record, nurse, would you state your name and your place of employment?
My name is Felicia Aaron. I'm a registered nurse at Derrian Parish, District number 3 in Alexandria, Louisiana.
Can y'all hear that without the feedback?
No.
We can.
Okay. That she said her name is Felicia Aaron. She's the nurse at DC3 here in Alexandria, Louisiana. You're the registered. Okay, your navigation system is too loud in the back.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. We really can't hear. It's just we can't hear at all. Why don't we give you what our recommendations are, and then you talk to us, Ms. Brown, and we'll go from there. I think we have this medical record. We have a good understanding of what's going on. Well, we'll talk, and if we need some information at a later time, we will. How about that?
Okay. Well, Nurse Aaron, I'm going to hang up right now because they're talking and your phone is feeding back.
All right. Sounds good.
Now, to the board, you're saying that that y'all have all the information that you think you need, is what you're saying?
Right. Ms. Renata is going to talk to you.
Ms. Brown, we have the information you provided in the preliminary hearing and what was faxed over to us today. Based on the conversation we've had today, my recommendation will be that this hearing be continued. That Mr. Devine be moved to the Hunt Correctional Center in St. Gabriel so that he can have a mental health evaluation, provide the information that we already have because they have the DOC's mental health facility, connect him with a transition specialist there at that facility who can make the connection with the VA. We're concerned about his housing and his residence plan. I really believe the best course of action would be through the VA for him. But we need to make those connections with him, and that can be done at the Hunt Correctional Center.
Okay,
And once that's done, then we would bring him back up for this procedure.
okay. The only problem with the Hunt Correctional mental health facility and VA hospital is that Mr. Devine received a less than honorable discharge, and the military people are saying to me because he received the less than honorable discharge from the Navy, that he was not eligible for the benefits that they would normally give a veteran. That's the first thing. And that's why he's not at Hunt. That's why he's here. The second thing is taking into the account what the board is recommending. They're gonna the hospital, based on his history with them for being less than honorable discharge, they're not going to take him, or they're not going to administer medical attention to him. And so what we were requesting was, since Mr. Devine would have finished parole last year and had been in Arizona without any legal problems, as you can see from the preliminary report, since he started receiving mental health treatment from a program that he's still a part of, that he be unsatisfactorily discharged from parole because he's backing up what would have been a 5-year sentence, which under the time-serving rules, he would be out in a little over 11 months on. So we are requesting that he be allowed to return to Arizona rather than be placed on parole and then be charged with absconding if he went to see about his fiance and 2 children who are there now, because that's where his life is. We're asking that he be allowed to either transfer the parole there or to be terminated unsatisfactorily and allowed to return to because he is under the mental health treatment for redemption for the records that I sent y'all. And the appointment with the psychiatrist here was just to see if the information with redemption coincided with what his present condition is here. And that's what
Ms. Brown, I understand what your plan is and what your request is. We do not have the authority to terminate him before the expiration date of his sentence. And I think my record shows a 2024 expiration date.
Okay.
I personally would not be opposed to him going back to Arizona in the proper way through the Interstate Compact Group.
Okay.
That's something that you all are willing to work on, but I would then continue pending the Interstate Compact.
Okay.
To the Arizona plan.
Okay. All right. And I just didn't want us to send him to Hunt and then be told what you already know and they're not going to take him. So if that's
all right,
to him, we're receptive to
that. Okay, that'll work for y'all.
All right, so that's my vote to continue pending processing of the Interstate Compact to Arizona so that he can continue his.
All right, Mr. Marabella.
Same.
And I vote the same. Continue pending the Interstate Compact. Get that taken care of so he can continue his care and treatment in Phoenix, Arizona. So 3
Thank
months.
you.
Get that done, and then we'll get him going. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was spacing out. I missed who she is. Does she work at the jail? Is she actually his attorney? I'm confused, but it was it's nice that she really cares to try to get someone with mental health issues, but it was like a headache. It was like, just get to the point. It was these long, stringy sentences that just kept going and going without really just get to the point. Just say what you want. He has a mental illness. He can't get accepted into this facility because he was dishonorably discharged, so he doesn't fall under that category. This is what we would like to see happen. wow, that took 20 seconds. It's not, but without knowing if she was an attorney, then I have serious concerns. But maybe she just works at the jail or is like a caseworker. I missed it. I wasn't paying attention when she introduced herself. I don't know what he's locked up for. It looks like basically what's going to happen is they're just saying, send him to Texas. Let's kick the ball down the road. He's not going to get the mental health care that they claim he needs. She was bringing the nurse on to state that he needs, and he's going to float in the system, and then they'll get him to Texas, and they'll be their problem. But that's, I don't know what else were you going to do? Not a fun hearing. It doesn't seem like there's any winners here, and he's going to just be lost in the system if he truly does have mental health needs. But I guess one positive is there is someone there that seems to care for him. I'll make that my takeaway. But with that, I apologize if you also got a headache, and I'll let you go.